Hello, good evening. Welcome to Daily Records Hotline Live Thursday night. The clock is ticking. I know we said about this last night. Artemis is off into space and all that, but the real blast off, Ryan Stevenson, who joins me, will come this weekend when the title race in Scotland gets back up and running. Might as well say before we start the show, thank you very much for joining us, and we are coming to you in conjunction with our good friends at NordVPN. But let's get right into this because there's shots getting fired all over the place, Steve. Um, you, you've written your column, it's in the day's paper, and your opinion is, and it's quite clear, you believe if Hearts win the remaining two games before the split, that's away to Livingston, and then at home to Motherwell, that's it, title in the bag.
Yeah, listen, I still, as I said, it'll obviously not just be as easy as that. But I do think if they win the next two games going into the split, I don't see them losing it. That's my gut feeling. That's my honest answer. Obviously, I said at 15 games to go, I fancied them to win it, and I just think if they go into the split, having won these two games, obviously they're still. Listen, the good thing about the weekend is Rangers can go top, and Hearts will need to go into the game on Sunday knowing that. I think it will be the first time in 6 months that they will not have been top. So there's a question for them to answer straight away. I think if they do go and answer that, everybody expects them to beat Livingston. And I think if they go,
Tricky game, Brian.
it is
Livingston away.
100%.
Livingston. I know that Livingston have had their problems, and I know where they are in the league table. But Livingston away is not a pleasant fixture.
No, Keith, do you know what? These two games for me are bigger than the split. As crazy as that sounds, because I don't think Livingston will be an easy game. And I certainly don't think Motherwell at home, going on how Motherwell have played, obviously they were 3-0 up at Tynecastle earlier on in the season, and Hearts were lucky, in a sense, to get it back to 3 each. So it's two massive games, and with just the pressure that's on them. But I just feel, mate, I just think that something inside me says if they get 6 points out the next two games, going into the split, I do not see them playing Celtic and getting beat. I do not see them playing Hibs and getting beat, and I don't see them playing Rangers and getting beat. I just don't. I just don't see it, and I don't see Rangers or Celtic winning everything as well. So I think if they can go into the split, as I said, with 6 points out the next two games,
Well,
I
so
think
close. Then it's just tantalising,
I,
and you can
I,
almost reach out and touch it at that point.
and that's the thing, mate. I think out of the three of them, I think they're the most assured. They seem the most calm. They seem the most present in the day to day, just the way they're going about their business. You also have to understand, from my point of view, the pressure that then is going to be lumped on Rangers and Celtic going into the split is colossal.
Yeah.
And can these players at Rangers and Celtic deal with it? I'm not so sure they can, mate. That's just my honest opinion. I don't
Ryan,
think it. When you go,
oh no, I've just got to say, I've done a pre-record, a kind of extended interview actually with Barry Ferguson, which is coming up later in the show, and he'll obviously give a slightly different perspective. You might be surprised to learn, Ryan, that he doesn't
yeah, I know.
necessarily agree with
Yeah,
you.
and I
um,
think I know what he'll be thinking Rangers will win it, and rightly so. Um, I don't know, mate. As I said, I've said it for 15 games in. I've just had this feeling that Hearts,
you have, to be fair, you have. You've
yeah,
been very consistent on that. We've
and
also
even
got.
yeah, and
Sorry, we've
even with the
also got
Blitz,
Ryan McDonald
yeah,
coming in from Record Sport, and he'll give us more of the Celtic perspective. But while we've got you, Ryan, 'cause I know you have to shoot, some comments are flying in. Here's a good one from McKenna, who actually says that you're a great Jambo and you're talking a lot of sense. But he does point out we've only lost one game when Shanklin has featured. I didn't know that. That's quite a
yeah,
start.
yeah,
And what a time to get him back.
exactly. And I mean, Long's coming back again. Another point that I'll make against the argument of Rangers and Celtic is if we were to sit down just now and say, if we look at the teams that Rangers, Hearts, and Celtic, and who's going to score who have we got that can go and score and win games? You look at Hearts, and
100%.
right now you've got Braga and you've got Lawrence coming back, who hands down is going to score you goals.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the other teams and I'm just not so sure.
Ryan, either one of these two walks straight into the starting 11 of either Celtic and Rangers right now.
For
I
me,
don't think
yeah.
there's any doubt. I've
Me.
said for a long time, I can't remember the last team that ever won a title without having a fully functioning striker scoring goals.
Yeah.
Just can't remember it. Hearts have got two, Rangers and Celtic don't have one between them.
And that's 100% the point I'm making as well, mate. As I agree with you 100% on that. I just feel getting into the split, if you've got Lawrence and Claudio up front, who you know are going to score. I mean, in Lawrence's absence, Claudio has been unbelievable. And you think, just alongside the fans, just alongside the full feeling of the club, what Derek's done, I just think if they get 6 points out of the next two games getting into this split, mate, I honestly think they'll turn the screw. I genuinely do. And I think...
The other thing, Ryan, that you said in your column that's really interesting, you think Celtic will be the first of the three to start folding and fading away?
Yeah, I do, mate. I do. I just... That Dundee United performance, I mean, I think everybody that watched that game, Celtic persuasion, neutral, whatever, if you sat there and said, these guys have got a league title to play for on the back of that performance, it was absolutely atrocious. Now, they've still got the cup, which is a bit of a silver lining. I just think if they get a draw or if they get a defeat in the next couple of games, I think the wheels will come off for them in the league, certainly. Because, as I said, we've spoke about it before, the situation between the board and the fans, which I think the fans are more than entitled to their opinion, and I actually think they're right. But that then translates onto the pitch. And right now, for me, Celtic do not have enough bodies and enough players that can fill a Celtic jersey, that they can take on that pressure and take on that responsibility of playing for that size of club. So for me, as I said, I think that if they waver at any stage, as soon as they do, I think they will buckle. And I think I'd imagine most people would agree with me. I cannot see them going the next 7 games unbeaten. So
It
I
does
think
feel as if the whole picture is sort of teetering on the brink a little bit at Celtic, doesn't it? It is one more, sort of difficult afternoon. Any more drop points, you just feel that relationship, the kind of toxic thing that's part kind of but hasn't gone away, that could come straight back to the fore.
Yeah, it's going to spill over. And again, listen, if Rangers go and win at the weekend and go top of the league, even if Celtic win, the fans will be annoyed at that anyway, just because Rangers have now went top of the league, the first team to go top of the league in 6 months, as I said. How do the players then deal with that pressure as well? Because they're then not just chasing Hearts, they're now chasing Hearts and Rangers. I just don't think there's enough resilience. I don't think there's big enough players in there to fill that jersey that ultimately can take on the pressure of playing for that club. And I think it's been proven this season. We've obviously spoke about it in previous.
Do you think someone have chucked it?
I do, mate. Yes, I do. I don't. Anybody that says that they haven't is either blind or a liar, because you can tell with the way some of them. I mean, you're at Dundee United. The pitch isn't great. I get it. It's the same for Dundee United, but that is a game where you expect players just to roll their sleeves up. You play for Celtic. Just go and do the job. Go and steamroll Dundee United. And that's no disrespect to Dundee United, but go and do what has to be done. You're in this to win a league.
Yeah.
And it was the first time, mate. The first time Martin O'Neill, what Martin O'Neill's done in the 2 spells that he's been in this season is nothing short of remarkable. And it was the first time I watched his interview after the game, and I just thought, he's deflated. Like that it was a big blow for him, I felt.
I don't think he saw that performance coming. You're right. He did
No.
look a little bit rattled by the end of that game.
Maybe the saving grace for them is they've had a bit of time over the international break to get themselves together, to try and re-galvanise. Obviously, some players have been away on international duty. They can come back and it can maybe give them another little spring in their step. But I just feel with the full circumstances of Celtic, as we're saying, with the fans and the board, and how fragile they look on the pitch at any given time, they can go from playing well to looking fragile in a split second. And I just think at some stage over the next 2 or 3 games, I think if they get a draw, as I said, or if they end up getting beaten in any of the games, I think they will buckle.
You think they'll have a difficult afternoon in Dundee?
I think they'll.
And Storm Dave as well, by the way. There's a storm brewing.
I think they'll have a really, really tough day, mate. I think Dundee, I think what Stephen Presley's done there has been excellent. I think they've improved as the season has gone on. And let's be honest, mate, it's like any other. If I'm a Dundee player, all I'd be thinking about was I cannot wait to play against Celtic to try and basically make their bubble burst. And I don't. That's not because I support Rangers. I don't. That is just the human nature of a football player. You're looking at it and you're going, I'm busting their bubble today. And I think that the Dundee players, alongside Stephen, alongside the fans as well, because as I said, they've been really good this season. They've got stronger and stronger. I think Celtic are in for a very tough afternoon.
Okay, mate. The questions are streaming in here. Chickaroonie says, how does Ryan fancy Hearts' chances in the Champions League qualifiers?
tell him just to settle down. We'll just get the league over the line first, and then we can deal with the Champions League qualifiers after that. But I mean, even just saying that, Keith, just the fact that Hearts
could be
have the opportunity to be in a Champions League qualifier is just incredible. It's been an incredible season. I genuinely hope that obviously it does fall into place the way that I'm saying, and I hope it does. And then we can deal with that at a later date. But it would be absolutely unbelievable to see Hearts in that competition.
How do you keep a lid on the excitement, Ryan? I know how much Hearts mean to you. I know how excited you've been throughout this whole campaign. How do you keep a lid on it for here? Because that's going to be part of the problem, isn't it? Or part of the issues facing Hearts. Keep a lid on this. Stay calm. You've still got work to do.
Do you know what, mate? I think the players, and I think what Derek has done is methodical in every single thing he's done. And I think the players and the staff in general are probably the calmest out of everybody. I mean, during the week, obviously, I have it day to day with people down here in Ayrshire, where it's all we talk about is, because obviously it's a big Rangers and Celtic part of the country, is talking about the games coming up. And I love it during the week. And then when I go to a game at the weekend, the drive is fine. When I get to the stadium, I'm an absolute wreck. And then usually after it, I'm fine if we've won. But I mean, these next, do you know what, mate? See, just for any Hearts fan, this has been the best season that I've ever had. And I said that to Derek McInnes as well. Even when I was playing, mate, this has been the best season that I've ever witnessed and I've ever been part of. And I'm obviously lucky because I'm doing things like this. I'm obviously doing a lot of the games for commentary wise.
Mm-hmm.
And see, just to be part of it, mate, it's been the best season. 41 years I've been on this planet, mate, and that's been the best season that I've ever witnessed. So I can be excited. But I genuinely think the players are more than capable of keeping their nerve, holding their nerve, and getting through the next 7 games. I genuinely do.
Brilliant, big man. Well, listen, try and stay calm. Try not to lose the plot over the weekend.
I'm trying.
And we'll get you back in the show next week, I'm sure.
No worries, mate.
Brilliant. Thanks, big man. Thanks for joining us.
All right, guys.
Cheers, Ryan. And from one Ryan to another Ryan magically appears Ryan McDonald from Record Sport, our very own. How are you?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm perfectly fine, mate. Frazzled. I don't like it when we Dan's not here. I feel as if there's a bit of responsibility on me, and I'm not great under circumstances like that, Ryan, as everybody knows. Listen, you've heard that there's, as I said at the top of the show here, shots firing all over the place on Hotline Live tonight. Ryan Stevenson says that Hearts are 2 wins away from the title. He also says, Ryan, that Celtic are going to be the first to fold, and he seemed to be hinting very heavily there. He expects that result could come, the one that finishes Celtic off could come at Dens Park this weekend. Give us your interpretation.
Yeah, now, I was kind of looking back at various title-winning campaigns for Celtic, and the one that immediately stuck out, and it's easy to kind of draw parallels at the minute, was the 2007-2008 campaign. That was the year Gordon
Strachan, yeah.
Yeah, Gordon Strachan's team won 3 in a row, and they battled back against all odds. Now, it's particularly interesting just now because if people might remember, Celtic lost, I think, at home to Motherwell. No, sorry, they lost away to Rangers, and then they lost at home to Motherwell, and that left them 6 points adrift of Rangers, having played 2 games more. So I was looking back at a few articles. I won't mention whose bylines were on there.
You don't need to. Go on. What was it? What did I say?
But essentially, that was it. Celtic were completely written off. There was the title was Rangers, and the league, the Celtic's 3 in a row bid was done and dusted. Now, as I say, Celtic find themselves in an exact same predicament at the minute. You know, they're 5 points behind Hearts, 2 behind Rangers, and the other one's doing the chasing. Now, obviously, it's 2 completely different eras, 2 completely different squads, but I just think history shows you that you can just never write off Celtic, especially when you've got serial winners in the team like Callum McGregor, and even the experience of James Forrest. You've got guys coming back from injury like Alistair Johnston, Arnie Engels, and who knows, even like Callum Osmond might provide a wee bit of spark, something different up front as well. So I don't know.
Right, what's the update? Sorry, I'll go back to your point, but have we got an update on, is Alistair Johnson ready? Is he expected to come back in this weekend? Any word on Austin Trusty, who limped off for the USA against Portugal the other night?
Yeah, so Alistair Johnson was away with the Canada squad. The agreement was between both clubs that he wouldn't play any minutes, but he was away training. He is a key figure behind the scenes at Canada. He's one of the most influential players in the squad. So I think it suited both him and Canada for him to go over and at least be involved in the kind of warm up fixtures ahead of obviously this summer's tournament. So I think that was big for him. He got to train with some top quality players as well, and it's an extra week or 2 of training in the bank. So I'm going to be over to Lennoxtown tomorrow to speak to Martin O'Neill. I'm sure he'll give us an update. But the last time we did ask him the question, he said that he would be back after international break. And obviously that could happen this weekend. You look at Austin Trusty as well. He pulled up with cramp midweek in the USA's defeat to Portugal, but he's going to be fine. Was that
all it was? Just cramp?
Yeah, he's going to be fine for Sunday. It was just cramp. I think he was in agony in the final minutes of the game, and he did come off, or he limped off the pitch, which is always a concern. But he's going to be fine for Sunday. So yeah, as I say, I think it's going to be defining. This weekend's going to be defining for Celtic. In my view, I know Callum McGregor has said that they might only need to win 5 or 6 games, but of the remaining 7. But for me, I think Celtic really do need to be flawless.
You think 7 out of 7, Ryan?
I think so. I know people are saying about Hearts and Rangers, and you can see them dropping points, but to be honest, I don't. I think Rangers especially are gathering a bit of momentum at the minute. I think those 2 wins before the international break will do them the world of good. I think Hearts clearly are the favourites as well, and it all depends. Like, we're going to have to. I literally cannot wait to see what the split throws up, because that is going to be the greatest split of all time. The fixtures are going to be dynamite. And hopefully we're in for a bang in the final game of the season, where Celtic or Rangers play Hearts in the penultimate game or the final game. I think that would be epic. But yeah, for me, I just think it's too early to write Celtic off. If they win against Dundee on Sunday, look, I mean, if Rangers and Hearts drop points this weekend and Celtic win, then
everything changes again. The whole thing flips again.
It changes week by week. So for me, it's still too early to write them off.
But you think Celtic this Celtic side have got it within them to rattle off 7 wins, Ryan?
That's the biggest question. They've clearly not shown that this season, but as I say, I think with guys like Alistair Johnson, again, serial winner, treble winner, Arnie Engels, a man that Celtics rejected a £25 million bid for. just a couple of months ago. And then Callum Osman, clearly he's a rookie, but he did score against Rangers at Hampden. He did give Celtic a bit of a lift up front, and he won over Martin O'Neill almost instantly, which is no easy feat. So he's clearly got something about him. So I think the likes of Callum McGregor as well, they'll be listening to the outside noise. I think nothing will spur Celtic, in particular the likes of Callum McGregor, a key leader in that dressing room, on more than people writing them off. And that's why I just think it's history shows you. I think it's too early.
And where are you this weekend, Ryan?
I'll be going to Dens Park on Sunday to witness what could be a defining weekend for Celtic.
It could be. Now, before I let you go, give me your prediction for that, because I think, I'll be honest, I think that's a difficult game for Celtic. It would not, and I did say before the game at Tannadice that I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped points. I didn't expect them to get beat, Ryan, but they did. I've got a similar feeling for Dens. I've got a similar feeling. I think, see if Celtic can get in and out of town with all 3 points. I think they've had a massive Sunday. I'm just not sure they're going to get the result.
Well, obviously Dundee, I think, was it 37-year wait they ended to beat Celtic at Dens Park in October. And that was under Brendan Rodgers, and that's when the Celtic season really did begin to unravel.
The Honda Civic,
the famous Honda Civic remarks. And I think it was 1940s since the last time Dundee recorded back-to-back home wins over Celtic. So in this season, you just wouldn't be surprised if that was to materialise on Sunday. I think clearly it's going to be a tricky game. The conditions with the storm incoming aren't going to help Celtic in any way, shape or form. I think their performances over the last 2 or 3 months, they've just been scraping by, and clearly that caught up with them at Dundee United last time out. But as I say, I think they've got to be given a boost by the fact that key players like Alistair Johnston are coming back, and Arnie Engels. They're going to immediately provide upgrade. They're going to upgrade the squad right away. They start 11 right away.
Upgrade the starting 11, more important.
Absolutely. So I think that is. I really want to stress how much I think that can make a difference for Celtic, and Callum Osman as well. As I said, up front they're just powder puff. That's where Celtic, I've gone wrong this season. They've just struggled to find a net. 20 goals combined their strikers have scored. I think between Daiza Maeda, Thomas Chavankara, Kelechi Iheanacho and Johnny Kenny, 20 goals. And that's how many Adam Idah scored on his own last season. And we all know the stick that Adam Idah used to get. So that's really where the problems lie. Defensively as well, there's issues. That it's 7 league games now since Celtic kept a clean sheet. So clearly the performance at Tannadice was totally unacceptable. It's not something that we've kind of really witnessed under Martin O'Neill. They didn't really look like scoring at all. There was very little creativity. They looked dysfunctional. But I think with this game coming up, the international break, time to kind of, I'm sure they would have been hurting over that result as well for the couple of weeks to kind of mull that one over. I think this could be. I think I'd back Celtic to win it. I don't think it'll be a comfortable victory. Stephen Presley is doing a magnificent job at Dundee, and of course Dundee have their own battles at the minute. Clearly, they're 5 points off 11th at the minute, but they'll be wanting to drag themselves firmly away from that relegation zone. So there's plenty of line for them as well. But I do expect Celtic just to edge it out.
Brilliant, mate. You've set the scene perfectly, Ryan. Thank you very much for joining us tonight's Hotline Live, and enjoy the weekend. Try and stay as stress-free as you can.
Cheers, Jacko. Catch you next week.
Cheers, pal. Which just about sets us up perfectly. I did mention at the top of the show we've got an extended interview with Barry Ferguson, who goes through Hearts. He has a little pop at Ryan Stevenson. He goes through Celtic and where he thinks, or why he thinks that they can't be written out of this title just yet, and why he thinks it would be dangerous to do so, even though there are issues that he thinks in the team. and he goes through Rangers and what they're going to have to do if they're going to kind of shake off this tag of being nearly men and I suppose bottle merchants. So I caught up with Barry earlier on today, and you can hear that now.
Barry, thanks for joining us, mate. Lot to talk about. I mean, I know, look, we're all enjoying the national side. We're all kind of caught up in World Cup kind of fever and all this.
Yep.
But really, we just want to get back into this domestic business, don't we? Because this season has been phenomenal. One of your fellow Daily Record columnists, Ryan Stevenson, I noticed, good column. He thinks it doesn't matter when Rangers go to Tynecastle in the post-split fixtures, because he thinks if Hearts beat Livingston this weekend and beat Motherwell at home, that's it. Before the split, he reckons the title's won.
Well, surprise, surprise, I totally disagree with him.
Thought you might.
No, listen, Ryan's got his opinion. I'm totally fine with that. But listen, there's a lot of football to be played. I do firmly believe, and if I'm sticking my neck out, if I'm being honest, the last two games before the split, I'm going on about my own club, Rangers, and then I'll look at Hearts, and then I'll look at Celtic. I do firmly believe that three of the clubs will win the two games before the split.
You do?
I do. I firmly believe that. Listen, I know what it's been like this season. There's been some surprise results. Like just before the international break, I never expected Celtic to go up to Tannadice and lose that pretty convincingly, let's be honest. But in terms of the title race, of Ryan saying Hearts win the next two games, the league's theirs, nah, I'm totally disagreeing with that.
It would certainly put them in a strong position, though, wouldn't it, for the post-split games?
Listen, I've said in my column plenty of times this season, Hearts are top of the league for a reason, because they've been really good. The recruitment's been good, and I've spoke highly what I think's been their biggest signing, and that's the manager, Derek McInnes. And I said a couple of months ago, Hearts aren't going anywhere, and it's turned out like that. But
Yeah.
I still think it's going to go right down to the wire. Look, once the split games come, if I look from a Rangers point of view, going to Celtic Park, going to Tynecastle, and it's probably looking at going to Falkirk, innit?
I think it is, yeah.
That's the way it's going to look. Listen, three really tough away games. But listen, see if you want to win trophies, and certainly if you want to win league titles, you need to go to places like that and get results. So, look.
It's not meant to be easy winning a title.
No, it's never easy winning a title. So, from my point of view and from a Rangers point of view, I like to just focus on number one, and that's Rangers. And Rangers are right in it. Look, in my column tomorrow, you'll see we've spoke about it. And I get asked when I'm out and about, whether it's at shops or whatever, and how do I think it's going to pan out? Well, I'm just absolute buzzing that Rangers are in a title fight, because I never thought this was going to be the case mid-October, let's be honest. So, listen, there's so much still to play for. 7 games still to go, 21 points, and it's whoever's got the biggest balls.
Yeah.
Will run out title winners. And it's there for,
That's it.
for everybody to play for. It's
I
there
think
for
you
everybody.
say in your column, Barry, you know, some people call it squeaky bum time, but this is big boss time.
It is, and this is the business end of the season, Jacko. And if you want to play at a big club like Rangers, you've got some massive games coming up. And I know the finger, has been pointed at some of the players and at the team at times. Well, let's go and prove the people wrong. Let's go and start on Saturday against Dundee United, which is going to be a difficult game, because, as I said earlier on, Dundee United were really good against Celtic. I know a lot of people going about the pitch, but it's the same for both teams. I just thought Dundee United were really good in the day. They played to the conditions better than Celtic did, and came out were the winners, in my opinion. So it's not going to be easy for Rangers on Saturday, but you've got to go in with the mindset as let's just go for it. Let's leave everything out there and see where it takes us.
You've been here, haven't you? I mean, you've been in this exact situation where there's only a handful of games left and the whole thing's in the balance. What mentality do the players need to adopt to make sure that they come out on top? You managed that. People look at that Rangers dressing room, I think, and say, I wish they had a Barry Ferguson in there, a leader, a guy that knows what's required to get over the line, because that has always been the question mark about this Rangers team for quite a time now.
It has always been the question mark, and I can understand that because, listen, results in the past have proven that. But I'll go back to an incident a couple of weeks ago. I was at the game against Aberdeen. Rangers were pretty comfortable, if I'm being honest with you, overall. But when it gets to 2-0, Aberdeen get a goal back. And then I sit back and think to myself, right, what kind of reaction am I going to see here? Mm-hmm. And I see a real positive reaction. I've got to be honest with you, they could have went on and scored another 4 or 5 goals, in my opinion. But that was a crucial moment for me, because you know what it's like been in the past when Rangers have been a goal up or a couple of goals up, like they were against Aberdeen. It's affected the players. Mm-hmm. But for the flip side of that, they showed a determination and a real character to say, right, listen, it's happened. Let's get our heads down. Let's get in about it again, and let's take the game to Aberdeen. And that's exactly what they've done. So from that small incident in that Aberdeen game, that's given me a lot of positives going into the remaining 7 games. There's no doubt about that.
Has that made you feel that if there are question marks over mentality or bottle or whatever you want to call it, that it could have crept in that match? The fact that it didn't has given you the sort of belief that they're ready to go the course and distance?
Aye, it could have crept in, but listen, they showed a different side to them, which has been labelled against them. Look, there's been some disappointing results, I think, in the month of February, like going away to Motherwell, going away to Livingston, dropping points. But listen, still right in it. That goal that Aberdeen scored, it would be easy for you to feel sorry. The crowd get a bit nervy. Mm-hmm. But no, there was a real positive reaction. And I'm not saying that's going to make Rangers win the league, but that was kind of a sit back and take notice moment for me. And say, right, do you know what? They're showing they've got a bit about them. And again, when it's been labelled at them, there's been questions about this Rangers squad. Go and use it in a positive way. Go and show that, right, do you know what? We're right up for this. We're in a title fight and we're going to throw everything at it and see where it takes us.
You would have used that as motivation if people were questioning your character and your bottle, wouldn't you?
I would, but 100%. I try to use like kind of if people are having opinions, and do you know what? I'm all for people having opinions. I've got no issues with that whatsoever. So if somebody had an opinion about myself or about how I played or about the team that I was playing in, how it was playing and it wasn't doing well, do you know what? I try to use that in a positive way. Always try to do. And that was work even harder on the training ground and making sure when that next game comes, right, I'm going to show them. Mm-hmm. So I would like to think that's the attitude for this group of Rangers players.
Use it as fuel, use it as a motivation.
You've got to, because you're out there to get criticised if results or whatever go against you. And as you're mentioning, a lot of people are asking whether this group of players has the capabilities to go right to the wire. Well, go and show them. The best way to do that is win games of football, starting against Dundee United. And I'm convinced that this group of players and everybody connected to the club understand where we are now. We're in this.
It's a chance to go top, isn't it? It's a chance to go top for the first time in about 2 years.
Exactly. That's a major motivation. And do you know what? Focus on number one. Go and make sure you get a result against a very well organised Dundee United who have got a real good manager. And then you never know what happens 24 hours later when Hearts travel to Livingston and Celtic travel to Dundee. But I would have in my mind at 5-3 walking out in front of that crowd the belief that both Celtic and Hearts are going to win.
So there's no room for a slip up.
So I ain't going to slip up here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the mental attitude I want to see for this group of players on Saturday.
Barry, I kind of thought after the last round of fixtures, or in fact, before going into that last round of fixtures, I made the point in something I wrote that if you're going to win a title, I'm struggling to remember any team that's won a title without having a really fit, fully functioning, firing striker. And I look at Rangers, and I don't know if they've got one. I look at Celtic, and I don't see one. And I look at Hearts, and I see two. I see two that could probably walk into the starting lineups at both Celtic and Rangers right now. Does that not come into the equation here?
Listen, it's a good case you put forward. Look, in terms of the last two players that you mentioned, Lawrence Shankland, who, listen, is just back from injury, but he would have another couple of weeks to get up to speed, and I'm sure he'll be one of the first names, or the first name in the team sheet for Dale at Livingston. And Braga's been a sensation this season. Nobody knew about him, and he's really impressed me. It's not about the goals for me, it's just about the energy that he brings to the team.
Yeah.
So he's been impressive. And then in terms of Rangers, I think in terms of Chermiti and Nadiri, they've played together now for a couple of games, or a wee 2 or 3 games. I think it's a work in progress. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Look, big Chermiti has shown in the big games against Celtic and Hearts that he's more than capable. It's the other games that people are questioning, and I can understand that. But there's definitely a player in there. There's no doubt in my mind. And Big Nadiri, he's shown enough for me. I love his appetite for the game. He looks to me if he's a real willing worker.
Well, he's
Again,
up in a hybrid position, isn't he? He's not a midfielder and he's not a striker. He's somewhere in the middle in there.
He is. But listen, that could all change on Saturday. When the two of them could click. It's still yet to click. But I'm sure Danny Rowe over the last couple of weeks, I know Chermiti's been away in international duty, but he'll be hoping that it clicks at some stage, and hopefully that's on Saturday at 3 o'clock against Dundee United.
You wouldn't accept then that tips the balance in Hearts' favour at this minute?
No, because Rangers have been getting goals for other areas of the pitch, which I think is important when your number 9s are no scoring on a regular basis, that you find that other positions or other players within the team are scoring goals. And that has been the case for Rangers. And it's just a case for me. I'm waiting for this double act to really click into place. And as I say, hopefully that comes quickly. And that's against Dundee United. And
in terms of, across the city at Celtic, Barry, the D United performance, I think, was a real worrying one from a Celtic perspective. They looked miles off it. Martin O'Neill looked almost exhausted, kind of at the end of his tether by the end of it. And again, this is a side that's having difficulty in terms of having a guy leading the line, a prolific striker. There isn't one. Maeda's gone something like, I don't know how many weeks or months it is now since he last hit the back of the net, and he's their best option up front through the middle, it seems. So do you think that they're one more bump in the road away from kind of collapsing to the side of the road on this?
Well, I think Martin O'Neill says that after the game, that there can't be any more mistakes from a Celtic point of view. So that tells me that they have to be clean in these last 7 games and find ways to win. But listen, I've been in the game long enough to understand, and I know it was a bad performance and a bad result for Celtic, but listen, I'm not going to sit here and gloat about it and write them off. No way am I writing them off yet. They're still in it, in my opinion. There's still 3 teams in it. And listen, that could all change on Sunday at tea time. But listen, they've got a guy who's been in the game a long time and knows the game inside out. And they've still got players, in my opinion, that could still hurt you. Were they poor against Dundee United? Yep, 100%. I'm not going to sit here and say otherwise, but I ain't ruling them out yet.
Experience tells you that.
It does, but I think I'd be a fool to write Celtic off. I still think they're still in the title hunt, but again, as I said to you, that can change it on Sunday at tea time.
Well, that is interesting because Hearts will get the first shot at it on Sunday. I think it's a 2 o'clock kick-off at Livy. If they win that, they go 8 points clear of Celtic. So would you say then that if Celtic drop anything at Dens Park later in the afternoon, that they're in serious trouble at that point?
I think it would be difficult for them.
Mm-hmm.
Rangers and Hearts would obviously clearly need to go on a horrendous run. But I think it's clear to everybody. I think it's clear from Hearts' side, Rangers' side, and Celtic side that I think you need to be near on perfect in the title running.
And do you think that one of these three sides are capable of going unbeaten? I mean, unbeaten's not going to be enough. Actually winning a straight winning run of 7 games, because that's probably one of them.
See, if I'm a player or I'm involved as a manager or in the staff, I'm looking at it with 7 games to go, and I'm giving it everything I've got. I'm going to embrace that challenge. That's from a Rangers point of view. That's what Rangers have to do. In terms of Hearts and Celtic, I understand I've got to speak about them, but I'm not really interested in what goes on there. I'm more interested about Rangers and how Rangers cope with this. And I'm quietly confident that Rangers can have enough over the course. It's certainly these next 2 games. They're not going to be easy, these games. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dundee United, as I mentioned, good result a couple of weeks ago. And then you're going to John McGlynn's Falkirk.
Yeah, that's a tricky game.
That's another tricky game. Forget about the surface. That's not an excuse. You know what you're coming up against there, but you're coming up against an experienced manager who's got right good players. So you need to be really on your mettle. And if you don't play well, you need to be really solid and find a way of winning games of football. But as I said to you, I look at it from a point of view, and I keep going back to this. In October time, I think this would have been possible. So it's great to see, and as obviously I'm still part of Rangers, I'm still involved at Rangers. I'm so excited about this.
The flip side of it is, Barry, and you've been in this situation as well. I'm guessing because it's unexpected, because they are where they are, because they're right in the mix. There's only 7 games to go. See, if you don't win this title, these boys could carry that and regret it for the rest of their careers. And I'm sure there are examples that you could give, titles that you think you should have won that you didn't get over the line in the end. And these are the ones that hurt.
Well, listen, no doubt about it. And that's this weekend training, and where everybody's together, there's got to be talk amongst the boys. Listen, no regrets. Let's leave everything out there. Let's empty our tanks. I think we spoke about it in my column a couple of weeks ago. That's the kind of mindset you have to have, because you've got to this position. Don't let it go. Don't lose grip of it. And just go and embrace these next 7 games. Certainly we know what the next 2 are. We'll obviously know the games when the split gets announced in terms of who the opposition is going to be. And I tend to like to look too far. I kind of look at small blocks, and I look this double header. Dundee United and Falkirk is crucial for Rangers to get maximum points, and I'm confident they can do it, because you've got to understand the situation you're in and realise that 4 or 5 months ago, I don't think anybody thought this would have been possible. So you've got to give credit to the manager, the staff and the players. And you can see with the atmosphere as well, Jacko, run about the place. It's a better place to be.
Yeah.
Because beforehand, it wasn't nice.
No. But it's been a long, hard summer if they don't do it. And I'm just trying to think, is there one summer in particular that you can remember, one title they got away that you still you still carry the scars from it?
There's no one specific one, but see at the end of the season when I never won the title, what a horrible summer.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't nice to be around about. Because you know what? Your first day pre-season, when you go and you do your testing and the manager sits down and you go through everything that's going to be happening during the season, your number one priority and your bread and butter is that league title. That's your number one. Listen, it's great in terms of being involved in Europe. It's great winning League Cups. It's great winning Scottish Cups. But the pinnacle's your league title.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're in a fight. We're right in it. Let's go for it.
Brilliant, Barry. Listen, thank you for joining us on Hotline Live. I'm sure we'll get you on again soon because this title race is going nowhere. This is just brilliant.
And that's your back from Record Sports Hotline Live for the week. We'll be back on Sunday, slightly later time because Celtic's a late kickoff. So 7 p.m. on Sunday, folks. Listen, thank you so much for all your comments. Far too many of them for me to deal with at one time. I hope that Daniel was successfully back in the hot seat on Sunday. I'll be back. I hope you all are. Thanks once again for watching. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for NordVPN. And we'll see you Sunday. Cheers.